Cheers. Good morning. Wow, look at the turnout already. Class is getting started. Thanks for tuning in today. Again, it's a special September month of lots of live streams with Tracy. You've got your coffee and your guitar. Look at that. You guys all know the routine. Well, I appreciate you being here too. We've got some various things to talk about. And feel free to type in the comment. I'm kind of making these series of lessons that are hopefully all connected, like a good movie. You're probably going to figure out, all right, how does this all connect? But mainly, it's just kind of demonstrating some of my favorite concepts, some things that may not even be taught as much or as often rather on YouTube. So I'm trying to hit some various topics that I feel have a value, and I'm speaking from personal experience on all of this. What I learned, and what might be able to save you some time, and what is important out of all of this material and vast resources available. Bob, good morning, amigo. All right. So, again, feel free to say hello, type in the comments, where you're from, who you are. Just don't put any bank cards or anything like that, or credit card numbers, but you can tip me if you want. There's a Venmo, or no, not Venmo, PayPal tip or link too, if you feel like it. But hey, I'm just happy to be here and have you here joining me on these lessons, these live streams. They're rather informal, but hopefully they're very educational for you. Yesterday was a really good lesson on the modes. Modes are, to me, very important, going beyond pentatonics. And I think I'm going to pick up there and talk about some things that I said today's topic is going to be. And it actually came about from two recent private lessons that I've had. We're online, and students were kind of saying that they have trouble navigating when chords are changing keys. Okay, so that's going to be the topic, the primary topic. But again, I ease into that with some preliminary concepts like understanding the modes, pentatonics, intervals, and chord progressions. It's all intertwined to me. It's all a mix. So thank you again for the thumbs up. Thanks for tuning in. Feel free to say hello if you're on Patreon. Let me know you're on Patreon. And I appreciate, my Patreon members. Hello, John. I think I know which John that is. Thanks again for tuning in. All right, so I think I'm going to start just a couple things, and I hope you have your guitar. I actually just posted a video. I don't know if it was this morning. I can't keep track of it, or last night. There's a Sound Slice video too. I'm not sure if I put the link for it in Sound Slice, but many of my Sound Slices or a few of them rather, are for free. You just have to, join Sound Slice and then look up my name. I post all of my Sound Slices on Patreon, and those are all at the silver tier. And I have to say this just because it's good information for you to know if you want to practice along with my etudes or solo arrangements or whatever, or a lot of play alongs too, that I create these Sound Slice practice videos. Right now, I'm not selling anything on Sound Slice. They're just only available for Patreon members. And again, all of them can be accessible at the platinum tier. I had a lesson yesterday. I teach a lot of private lessons as well, online and in person. So one thing that I showed my student yesterday in the morning was a warm-up. So I'm going to show you a quick warm-up. And again, this is something you may not do already, or you might have done it years ago. It's pretty straightforward, but I thought I'd just share it anyways. And it's just digit exercise. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So, two things. 1, 2 relates to the fingering, but also the frets in this case. So it's 1, 2, first finger and second finger. The thumb doesn't count. So when we're talking about fingering, we're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the thumb is in the back usually. So this exercise is 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 on all 6 strings. And then 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, etc. Descending. And start off slow. Ideally you'd use a metronome, but I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just warming up right now, just relaxing my body. And right now I'm just demonstrating with all alternate picking. Okay. Or sorry. Still waking up. Downstrokes. And one thing that I want to stress is don't lift your fingers up like this. If you find yourself doing that, slow it down and add your fingers on. That's my key word, add your finger. And then next string. But, actually you want to get ready for the next string. So it's really, and I have a PDF, of course, and a sound slice practice video for this with me on Patreon. It's just called Basic Warm-Ups. The next one, I'm going to show you 4 of them. Then I'm going to show you the chromatic scale as well. The next one is 2, 3. So again, I got to be careful here. 2, 3. And yes, we can alternate our picking. I'll demonstrate that in a second. Right now, I'm just showing you the fingering and descending. Okay, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2. Let's do that again. 3. This is just some warm-ups. Grab your guitar, grab your coffee, and relax your body when you do this and breathe, Maybe sing it. It's so musical, right? But later on, this will help you when you go, all these little fun, all these, I call these digit exercises. Okay, this is not the topic for today, by the way. This is just a warm-up. So it's a subtopic. I always offer a lot of little things here that I like to do. So that was 2, 3. The next one, you got it, 3, 4. And yes, I've had some students who literally had to put their pinky on there because they can't use it. Go at your own pace. Relax. If you're stressing about it, that's not good. Make it musical. I'm adding a little vibrato, make it beautiful. Get the tone that you want. I'm just using this thin line nylon string, so it's not the best tone. But I don't want to be too loud right now. Again, 3 and 4 and descending. Give me a thumbs up if you like these. If you don't like it, you can't take your thumbs. Don't give me a thumbs down. The last one here for this is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just digit. These are mindless, essentially, but still I want you to feel it and get into it. And I'm still just doing all downstrokes. That was again 1, 2, 3, 4, and then descending 4, 3, 2, 1. I do want to demonstrate alternate picking for this exercise as well. Descending. And the fact that there are 4 notes per string makes alternate picking ideal, okay? Just like when you're playing pentatonics, 2 notes per string, you get that alternate picking. It's important. But again, practice it with all downs. Practice it with all ups if you want. I mean, I don't do it that way with all ups, but you definitely ups get a little different tone. So again, that's a warm-up. I'm going to review that if you're just tuning in. These are digit exercise 3, 4. I am alternating my picking 3, 4, 2, 3, and descending, and 3, 4. Grab your guitar, do these with me. These are just warm-ups. and 1, 2, 3, 4. Ready? 1 and 2. Oh, a little slower. 1 and 2. Coffee's kicking. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Give me a thumbs up if you like these warm-ups. I'll do these more often, share some other things. We'll go through modes and stuff like that too. And type in the chat, say hello. If you want, tell me where you're at. So again, I'm just using on the 1st fret, but you could do this on the 5th fret. Descending. It's just to get your fingers going, getting the coordination, getting the flow for playing. And then, that was, so again, and here's 2 other things that you can do just with that same concept. Well, the 1-2 method, many of you who take my gypsy jazz classes and study my bootcamp etudes, I always say that's a la Django, right? So it's really very valuable to get the coordination, and if you're doing some of these slurs, a lot of it's just patterns and stuff. You want to get your fingers, so you don't have to be limited by the technique aspect of it, and more we can focus more on the outlining the chords, the harmony, connecting things, and making music. So back to this digit exercises. One of the things is to go laterally like this on 1 string, and I'm alternating. Maybe feel the 16th notes, 3 and 4 and. So again, these are just good mindless warm-ups, getting coordination, getting the flow, and getting your fingers warmed up. You want to relax your body when you do this. Another one, and don't worry, I won't spend too much more time on this. I just want to kind of discuss warm-ups since I haven't yet on the live stream, but this worksheet is on Patreon with a sound slice. It's to go diagonal, okay? So diagonal like this, and I love the diagonal concept. I'm just going to do tritone like this. I'll tell you what I mean. If you haven't watched my diagonal method video from the other day, it was a live stream, it was an hour long. I talk about tritone like this. So tritone, it means 3 whole tones, but you could think of it as a flat 5. And you'll hear me when you watch my videos. I always go tritone. So it's a way of visualizing the fretboard and being able to go through 3 octaves quickly. Well, funny enough, that's a really cool lick because that outlines a diminished 7 chord, by the way. This. So it's actually quite musical to do that. And we can superimpose that over dominant chords, and that's why you hear it, to learn some of these little hacks and little tricks. But mindless exercises, I don't want to spend too much time on it. I want to actually turn it into music, and that's, to me, the most important thing. So your noodlings, turn those exercises into music. Give me a thumbs up if you're just joining me. I need a sip of coffee. I appreciate you tuning in this morning. We're going to do some theory quizzes, and then we're going to get to the main topic of how to approach working on changing keys. Right now, we're just warming up, doing some mindless chromaticism, what I call digit exercises. One other one that I showed my student, there's actually a YouTube video and a sound slice video, is the chromatic scale. So how many of you know your chromatic scale? You might think that this is chromatic, and it is. It's chromatic-esque, but it's not the chromatic scale. So I'm going to show you the chromatic scale. Remember, this guitar has the dots here. Here it is on the 5th fret, and this is where I showed it yesterday to my student Dave, and it's on the video, YouTube video. So here it is. Maybe just listen and watch me do it first. So that's the chromatic scale, all 12 notes in succession, okay? And I was using alternate picking, and I was doing 4 notes per string, except for the first string and the sixth string. When you change direction, then it was um, five 5 notes and then 4 notes. So there's one really important thing. I love for you to do this with your first finger. A lot of this is about fretboard visualization, and this ties into the lesson on Saturday, which was triads. All right, let me turn off my phone here. And we talked about all the various triads: major, minor, diminished, augmented, and then the special sus2 and the sus4. But is to do this exercise with me. Try this. That's an augmented triad. So essentially, we're taking the chromatic scale, 12 notes, and we're dividing it up into major thirds. That's what an augmented triad is. So take your first finger, do this. It's opposite of that tritone. See, this is tritone. That's a major third, major third. And then here, because of our tuning, they're parallel and then diagonal. So we're going this direction. I still call this the diagonal method for visualization. That's an augmented, and here's your other augmented. Visualize that. Very important. Descending. Great lick too. You can do whole tone scale later. Beautiful. But this is a chromatic scale. We're actually filling it in. 4 fingers. And then outline. So you know the visualization. Look at my first finger. I'm showing you where I'm going first. And then A. So we have this. I always say that's the preliminary exercise. And a lot of this stuff, there's always a way to simplify your visualization and thinking, and then you fancy it up. And then fill it in chromatic. Now it's a chromatic scale, outlining the augmented triad. And then shift to get the pinky. Relax and breathe. Yeah, there's some funny bug going around. I don't have my chopsticks with me this morning. Sorry. Oh, fruit fly. Who's that character from Charlie Brown? Pigpen? I guess I'm Pigpen today. I took a shower. Hey, I'm nice and clean, but that's a good warm up. I won't talk too much more about that. Thanks for joining in this morning. If you're getting entertained, then give me a thumbs up. Again, my goal is to get 20 for one of these, and I'll keep doing it more and more each day as much as I can, and getting more thumbs up and more likes and whatnot. And of course, join me on Patreon so you can get all of my teaching materials and videos and all that stuff. Okay, we just warmed up. We're talking shop now. Now we're going to talk intervals. So let's go ahead and put your finger on A, which is right here on the 5th fret, 6th string. Put your finger, and again, please grab your guitar. Okay, this is a guitar theory class essentially. From this A, give me a perfect 5th. Okay, and if you don't know this, that's okay. Just take note that you need to learn your intervals. And I say it in 2 different ways. Thank you for the thumbs up, whoever did that. I say it in 2 different ways. I say the theory way, like perfect 5th, augmented 5th, major 3rd, minor 7. Sometimes I'll say it like that, but the jazz way of doing it is formulas. I say play a flat 7, then you go play a flat 3, flat 5, flat 6, sharp 5. It's the same as a flat 6. That's the way we're going to talk ultimately. That way, when we come up with formulas for scales, arpeggios, whatnot, that's how we're talking. Okay, we don't necessarily say, diminished 5th, major, because then that's confusing especially on one level. That when you start to hear those words, major, diminished, augmented, 5th, people then associate chords, but we're not talking about chords. Wow, look at that. Thank you. We're talking about intervals, the distance from one note to the next. So as a little quick primer, of course, if you're watching this on the replay, you can review this. I'm going to just yell out. I'm going to go through this, and you can go through this with me live right now if you want. We've got the unison. That's just the one. Now here we got a flat 2. We got a 2. And actually, I should start with this. Sorry, I was going to go through the whole chromatic scale. Let's do the major scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. And the numbering for the major scale is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And here's, as I mentioned yesterday, in yesterday's lesson, do, ti, do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, so, do, octave, warmed up, do, ti, la, so, fa, mi, re, do, mi, so, mi, do, etc. That's music school. They call it aural skills, ear training to go. Solfege is the system that I'm talking about here that helps you hear within the key melodies, and you can relate it and know what it's going to sound like before you play it. For sight reading, if you're a sight reader, or just to kind of pre-hear, the music, sight singing. And I'm going to do a special lesson. No one's requested it yet. I said, let me know if you want to know more about the solfege system. It's something that I learned in music school, and it was new for me, and I struggled hard with it. And I'm going back to it because I really see the value of it, especially as I teach it to my students. But I haven't taught it yet on Patreon, or on YouTube. So I want to see what the demand for it is, the solfege system. And that's really establishing the key. That's why I'm doing that. Do, ti, do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, so, do, ti, la, so. You again, by thinking these numbers into syllables, that helps quite a bit. All right, so type in the chat. Let me know if you're here and say hello. This is Cruising. I got to get to the main topic, but there's all these little preliminary things that I've been discussing that I'm demonstrating and reviewing with you. Let's learn intervals, okay? You can. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The 9 is here. 1, 5, 9. Now let's learn the intervals of the numbers. I mean, that right there, that's so important again. On A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know what I'm going to do? That's 1, 4, 5. And yes, this is why it's so important that you learn to speak in numbers. 1, 4, 5. 1, 5, 6. We want to learn our scales and modes and chords in terms of numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now we're going to do the ones in between, okay, that are in the chromatic scale. 1, 2. So here's flat 2. You can call it a sharp 1, but usually it'd be called a flat 2. And it all depends on kind of where you're coming from. I'm going to show you from this A, my 5th fret. Please do this with me. 1, flat 2. 1, 2. 1, 3. 1, flat 3. Like you're playing a minor scale, you get the flat 3. We got 3, so we have these 4 notes. Now the 4, perfect. That's called perfect 4. But again, I'm bypassing the terminology of perfect 4, augmented 4, and that's fine. You could get that in theory books. I'm going to tell it and teach it to you in terms of numbers, because that's going to be what's important when you're looking at formulas for scales and arpeggios. 1, 4, 1 sharp 4. Yes, that's a tritone, and that's often called the flat 5. It really depends, kind of again, how you're using it and what comes before and what comes after it. 4, sharp 4, 5, and that's called a perfect 5th. We love that. Got to know your Louis for visualization. 1, 5, 1 flat 5, and yes, that's the same as a sharp 4. Let's keep going. 1, 5, 1 sharp 5. That's called the augmented 5th, just so you know. And then 6, it's called a major 6. I'll just say 1 to 6. Now flat to 6. That's That's called a minor 6. And again, it depends on the lettering, the spelling. If it was A to F, that would be called a minor 6. If it was a E sharp, you'd call it an augmented 5th. Again, this is all on paper. It's very academic. And I know you might say E sharp. Their piano doesn't have E sharp. It doesn't, but it does. It's an F. Okay, so it's about spelling. But don't worry, I'm not going to get too academic on you, just a little bit, because this is kind of music school for you right now. Again, I take it for granted that I went through this type of training in music school, 8 a.m. theory tests and all that stuff. So that's what I'm sharing with you. And you're here because you want to work on this stuff. And I haven't done this for many, many years. I mean, the teaching, this portion of it, I do it with my private students, but it's really good to share this on YouTube. So if you're watching this, you're getting a good dose of what you'd be doing in music school, okay? So we got the flat 6. I'm going to be quizzing you, so learn this quickly with me here. 7, that's a major 7. That's tricky, you got to cross strings. Sing it too, vocalize it, feel it. There's your octave, which is 8. Here's your flat 7. Like the Mixolydian mode. And of course, yesterday's lesson was all on modes, so review that if you haven't checked that out. This is not necessarily sequential, these live streams. All the materials are on Patreon. Give me a thumbs up if you're just tuning in. You'll hear me say that every once in a while. But I appreciate it. It really does help me do this to get more people involved in the morning here. It's morning in Portland, Oregon, by the way, 7:46 a.m. And I refer back to my music school days, going through the routine of oral skills, music theory, music history, all that college stuff, and then counterpoint and other fun topics, keyboard skills. And if I even got a chance to play the guitar, would be a lucky day because there's so much other stuff. But I learned quite a bit. And so a lot of that is being tied in now to the guitar, to you. Okay, so here we go. We got all of them. We're not going to worry about the 9. Ready? 1, 5, 1. 1, 7, 1. And notice I'm always going to say 1 first, so you have it grounding. You need to have that relationship. Otherwise, an interval would not be an interval if you don't have 2 notes to have the distance, all right? 1 sharp 4. 1, 5. You're like power chord, yeah. 1, 6. It could also be here. 1 flat 7. We want to get your ear so you pre-hear these as well. 1 flat 3. 1 3. Major 3, right? Flat 2. They each have their own color. And again, check out my mode lesson yesterday because that was a little bit more intense. But this is like now I'm going back, the backstory. You got to know your intervals. If you don't know your formulas, 1, flat 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, 8. Again, that will help you understand the modes and all that stuff when we talk formulas. If I said the Lydian mode is 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Mixolydian. I'm just showing you again the application of learning your modes in terms of formulas, because this ties into the topic I'm going to hit in a second here, okay? So please learn that and give me a thumbs up if you like this. If you don't, then you might not want to watch the rest of the lesson because it's going to get even more into theory. By the way, there's going to be an ad coming up here for some of you, I think. Let's continue. 1, 5, sharp 4. And yeah, it could have been called a flat 5 for all we care. But as long as I hear you play, I can't hear you, but I know you're doing it with me. 1, 7, 8. 1, flat 3, 4. 1, flat 3, 5. You're like, ooh, that's a minor triad. 1, flat 3, flat 5. Okay, see, now getting back to our topic of triads. 1, 3, 5. 1, 3, sharp 5. Okay, how you guys doing? Can I see some thumbs up? I mean, you can like it, or I can't see, this isn't interactive, but you can take my online classes where we are actually interacting live. I do those quite well. I don't want to lie, I didn't do any during the summer, but they're going to pick up in the fall and winter. That gives me a chance to actually interact with you and answer your questions and see you. You can also take private Zoom lessons with me if you want, if you're interested in working on, developing the curriculums for where you're at and what your interests are. All right, let's do a couple more of these here. 1, 3, 4, 5. And then again, we want to put it to progression, chord progression too. 1, 3, 4. So again, this will help you ear train. Boom, 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 6, 4, 5. You put the chord to it, obviously, too. The chord diatonic to the key that you're in. We're not like doing anything too crazy, just triads in the key, diatonic. But that's a good level to be at, to be able to hear a song on the radio or wherever, and to be able to hear the chord progression. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 1. Then Louie Louie, 1, 1, 1, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, 4, 4, 1. Or if you're a jazz player, 1, 6, 2, 5, 1, 6, 2, 5. And again, that's ear training, but it all relates to this interval. And I'm showing you just in this one octave, thinking more like a bass player, because we want to hear these progressions. Okay, this is all how it all connects. Go back to my other lesson the other day on The Girl from Ipanema or Autumn Leaves, where we dissected the chord progression so you could start to hear those. But this ear training and intervals, this all helps you quite a bit. All right, well, thanks for tuning in. We're going to continue here. We're getting into the good stuff now. We talked about diagonal arpeggios, we talked about warm-ups, we talked about, I didn't really actually show you. There's so much to show you and, fun things, but to tie in those triads and the diagonal arpeggios, that's a whole nother topic. So I'm just going to go there, but let's not get sidetracked. So lately now I'm going to the bulk of the topic here. So have another coffee. Let's talk a moment about key changing. And don't worry, I'm going to come back to this if this is new for you. Maybe you're taking notes like, I want to work more on my intervals so that when Tracy does these morning time tests, these quizzes, I say 1, flat 3, sharp 4, 5, that you can do that with me quickly, okay? That's important. I think it's important. Thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate it. Type in the chat too. Let me see your names, some names here. Okay, so I'm going to refer back to a lesson I had yesterday. The student was saying, hey, I can noodle around the pentatonic scale and diatonic to the key, but I have trouble switching keys, and I can't play over jazz progressions that switch keys. I'm like, okay, I got a good approach for you, and that's what I'm going to share with you right now. Let me get my pen out. Let me see if I can get some good lighting here without the glare. I'm going to take a vamp, a chord progression here. And, we have to start with this because this will open up. It will open the portal to what, some many other topics, everything that I'm hitting here on these live streams and on Patreon. Here's a vamp. What's a vamp, you guys? A vamp is a repeating short chord progression, usually 1 or 2 chords, not anything like a long chord progression. It's just, we call it a vamp. Let's vamp on the 1 chord. Or in this case, check out this vamp. I know my head's gonna cover that up later, so I'll just leave that. This is the vamp. This is the key changing vamp. Why is it key changing? Why is it key changing? Who can type it in the chat? I just chose this. This is a really good one, by the way. These are both major 7 chords. Sometimes you might see the little triangle delta. That's a major 7 on your iReal Pro app, but I just write MAJ7 nomenclature. We'll talk more about that later. But why can't this be in one key? I'm looking, nobody typed it in yet. Okay, let's probably play it. You'll be like, oh, that's kind of cool. Sounds like a little bit like Pat Metheny or something. It can't be in the same key. Well, I'll tell you why it can't be in the same key if we dispel the chords. Here's some more theory, morning theory. Exactly. Thank you, A. Leon. G major, the key of G major, assuming this is the one chord, and this is where the theory comes in. Get my free tabs and worksheets from the other day on triads. The link is in the description. Chord theory. When you see a major 7 chord, and we're just going to stick to the major scale, not harmonic minor or melodic minor, anything else right now, but just a diatonic major scale. If you see a major 7 chord, it could be the 1 chord, it could be the 4 chord. Right now, we're going to treat it as a 1 chord. Okay, I'm not going to treat this as the 4 of the key of D. I'll treat it as a 1 chord. And we're also going to treat this as its own 1 chord. That means you got to switch keys. And as A. Leon said in the comments, they're G major. There's no B flat in the key of G. It has a B natural. So this is where it's important. And I'm going to do this. Let's see. Right. Yeah, I'll do it right here. Key of G. Why not? Let's go through this. This is what today's lesson's about. This is as I mentioned, a 3-parter. I'll do as much as I can to get you started. Key of G. You got G major 7. And this is where it's handy to use the triangle 7. A minor 7. Usually I'll use minus sign. B minor 7. That's just shorthand. C major 7. You guys got me on the floor here. I hope I could get another thumbs up for this, for getting on the floor for you guys. I don't know when this floor is last been clean. F sharp minor 7, flat 5. Let's see, did I get a thumbs up for that? No? Thanks a lot. All right, so those are their chords in the key of G. Okay, here are the chords. Oh, by the way, if you notice, there's a B, not a B flat. There's no B flat major 7 in the key of G. This progression cannot be in one key. That means you can't just use one scale and sound good. You got to switch keys. Okay. This is the method here. You got to do this homework. You got to grab a piece of paper, unless you could do this in your head, which is what I want you to get to. B flat major 7, C minor 7. This is requiring right now that I'm able to say a B flat major scale. B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B flat. So that's the course where you want to start, is just start with what is the scale? B flat, C, D, E, F, E flat, F, G, A, and B flat. And this is now major 7. We're talking about jazz progressions right now, not just diatonic triads. Major 7, minor 7, minor 7, major 7, the 4. The 5 is dominant. The 6 is minor 7, and this is half diminished. I'm going to just get myself in trouble and use that symbols. And again, this is why symbols are used, because it's shorthand. Can I get a thumbs up for getting on the floor for you guys and writing all that stuff? All right, coffee time. I'm going to let you take that in for a second. Okay, this is what's important to be able to do, is to know chord theory, diatonic to the key, to know your major scales, and then of course to be able to play it. There's a few aspects involved here. Hey, I got a thumbs up. Thanks so much. Hey, that's not bad. I'll just do this. Let's see. All right, that's cool. So this. Kind of sounds a little Joe Beamish as well. They were really seeking things out. So, and my student yesterday was like, "Can I just play pentatonic?" I'm like, "Sure, I would do that too." So G major penta, and then he said, "What about B flat major penta?" I moved my hand up. I'm like, "Yeah, that works." So yeah, you could just do that. You just slide your hand up. But then I said one thing that kind of opened up a door for him. I said, "Well, do you know that B flat major is equivalent, the pentatonic, to the relative go down 3 frets, and now it's minor." Grab my pick. So it's B, G minor. So then I said, "Well, you can just stay on G major penta." This is where you want to have your loop pedal, by the way, guys. I'll do a special lesson on Patreon, bonus video lesson. Those are behind the scenes. And where I'm going to demonstrate this progression with a loop pedal and talk more about it in depth. Minor. And of course, now this opens up another can of worms. Like, ooh, I like that. I want to just practice. How do I practice it? Keep it going like this. Switch. Keep it going. And just try to keep your line going. 8th notes, like a jazz player would. 8th note lines. Keep the momentum going. See if you can switch without having to switch always at the root here or here. Try to switch midway. And if you need to slow that down, just do quarter notes like this. This is just some good practice exercises for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. See the shift? So smooth. You can do that too. Quarter notes like a bass player. I messed up. So smooth. You can find some common tones. It could be really creative. I love those half steps. I kicked into mode. Okay, so again, it's challenging. It's fun. This is great exercise. Just this little vamp. It's kind of Matheny-ish. It's kind of Joe Beamish at the same time. The song Dreamer, by the way, is a song I'm thinking of. They're unrelated keys, but they are related. It's really just this could be thought of as G minor 7. So really, you can have a new progression that we can just use this. And you could be soloing the same stuff. So that already is another thing I'm going to share with you today. And I'm going to go through this chord stuff, and I'm demonstrating. I'm going to do a deeper lesson on Patreon where I'm demonstrating this. But this will get you guys started with the concepts, and hopefully, again, what I feel is good stuff to know in order to be able to do this. Again, this is the stuff I think a lot of teachers don't hit, is this whole process. They just think, yeah, just play Mixolydian or play Ionian. But I want to make sure I show you how to think about it and why. And don't forget, this is the mode stuff. Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, Locrian. The modes relate to each chord degree. And that's for us to be unlimited. So we could be wherever we're at with the modes. I was just demonstrating pentatonics because many of you already know your pentas. I hope you know your 5 positions of your penta. If not, check out YouTube. I've got a great lesson on that, going through it, and I've got a ton of materials and practice videos on Patreon for mastering the pentatonics. Just a quick demo of that. Here's G major penta. Don't forget, G major penta is also E minor. And here's G major penta starting on the next degree, the 2. Oh my gosh, too early for me. And this one. That's the 3, and then the 5th. And then this one. That's when everybody knows the box shape, the minor pentatonic. So that's a great thing to do. Obviously, I need to do that constantly just to keep my game up as far as being able to navigate through pentatonics. These are the same 5 notes, but I'll have some backing tracks again, autumn leaves. I don't have my loop pedal here with me, but this will be on the bonus video. And I already have a good video lesson on this where I just take the song and we work through pentas. And you know how I made that mistake earlier. This is the one I just stay on for and make some music. Okay, and now I'm going on a Tracy tangent there about mastering your pentas. But don't get me wrong, I love pentas. Pentas, they're critical to know really well. Let's see some thumbs up for pentatonics. Who loves pentatonics? Come on. Some of you have already given me the thumbs up, so that's okay. All right, so pentatonics, and then do it in B flat. B flat is also G minor. B flat. 2, 3, 4. And then we can loop this progression on your iReal Pro or your loop pedal and have so much fun just with pentatonics, okay? Good stuff, good stuff. I know I talk fast, I talk a lot, especially when the caffeine kicks in, but I'm walking you through this very important process, and this is going to blow your mind. So you gotta stay here. Don't leave yet. I'm going to show you a couple things, then we'll pick it back up tomorrow, but we're not done yet. So, key changing progression, the theory behind it, that you're switching keys. Okay, now I'm going to pick up right here, and then also how to just to have fun right away. Maybe you don't know your modes or your major scale, but again, that's super fun to just navigate. And what I was saying was, I'm going to show you one other thing before I hit this fancier topic. Besides pentatonics, this is where the modes come in, and it's so useful. G major Ionian. When you go to the B flat major, don't just move your hand. Not to say that that's bad, because that's what a lot of people do. Instead, go to the 6, like I demonstrated. This can also be G minor 7. Play Aeolian. It's a secret. Noodle around. Yeah, Stairway to Heaven's an Aeolian one. I'm just kind of playing freely. If I have the loop. And I'm navigating through that chord progression that's switching keys every 2 bars, kind of a fast tempo there. Little common tones. Those are the common tones are fun to hang on. Again, that's kind of, for me, I love Pat Metheny. He's been a huge influence on me. In his music, he's just a master at creating and weaving these beautiful lines and melodies in his own music. So you can do this if you're into Radiohead. My student yesterday was into Radiohead. So I was like, oh, Radiohead does this all the time in their compositional approach. So again, this goes beyond just improvisations, goes into composing and arranging, get some cool colors. What do I mean by that? I'll just give a quick demo, since I'm rambling here. But you take common tones like this. You have it on G. I don't know don't have my loop pedal, but I'll do it slow. That happens to be in the key of B flat as well. See, that's turn this chord progression into a song, a melody, a riff, an arrangement by thinking common tones too, not just what notes change, okay, but which notes stay the same. There's common tones, and you can even see them right here. G and G is common tone. A and A, those are the tunes. I grab D and D. What else is common? C and C. So you can, these two keys, as they seem unrelated diatonically, they actually have 4 common notes that you can hang on and create a cool riff, a cool arrangement if you're an arranger or composer. Okay, so that's another way of improvising. Okay, I've got 10 more minutes. I'm going to keep this just an hour. I wasn't even planning on doing this long on the weekday, but I appreciate you tuning in. If I can see some more thumbs up, I'm going to try to keep doing this as much as I can in the mornings. But it's really upon how many people are tuning in and interest. So the thumbs up definitely helps. If you really like this and want to give me a super tip or via PayPal, of course, I appreciate that as well. If you don't like it, then don't tune in. Anyways, I'm enjoying it, and thank you again for being here. Oh yeah, Ben Matheny playing How Insensitive. Okay, quick Matheny story. Matheny was my idol, and especially in college. I got a chance to see him during the Secret Story tour. Went backstage, met him, super nice guy. He asked me, Tracy, how's the guitar program at U of O? I was like, it's great, I said, did he play Giant Steps during one of the songs? He was like, oh, it's similar to Progression. Anyways, he's a super nice guy. Talk shop with Pat Matheny. To be honest, like a sophomore in college. But his trio, when I saw him, during the Secret Story, for you Matheny fans, during the Secret Story tour, he played How Insensitive as a trio. And How Insensitive I was just learning it during college. So it's like, my favorite boss. It's still one of my favorite bosses along with Black Orpheus. So that was very powerful for me to see him live at that, formative years for me, especially, and to see Matheny and his group, Steve Rodby on bass and Paul Vertigo, just a trio stripped down from the bigger ensemble. They just did a trio of How Insensitive. It was very powerful for me. So if you're not a Pat Matheny fan, you gotta listen to him. He's one of the greatest, and definitely this style is his style of songwriting and composing. All right, I'm gonna cruise here. Let's talk more shop, modes, pentatonics. Again, refer back to my lessons, get it on Patreon. I want to show you a couple cool things here before I end today's session. This deals more with composing and arranging, so give me a thumbs up if you're an arranger, or if you want to learn how to fancy stuff up. The first thing I like to do is to add another chord. This is cool and all, but if you want to, this is mind-blowing, because especially if you're a songwriter, composer, you might start with something simple, which is very nice. To start with something simple instead of something complex. And so one thing I'm gonna do here is just the one chord, got the key changing. I'm gonna add another chord right here. What's a good chord? Well, Louie Louie. Do, 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 do. I'm gonna go to, you got it, the 4 chord. This is gonna be, I don't wanna switch colors in here. This is gonna be the 4 chord. What's the 4 chord in the key of G? It's C major 7. There, now we got the 4. It's going to be a little bit more complex because we're going to do the same thing here. What's a 4 chord of B flat? E flat major 7. Oh, come on. Who doesn't love major 7 chords? We all do. Thumbs up for major 7s. I'm fishing today, aren't I? But watch this. 1, 4. Again, Louie Louie is coming back every day. B flat, 1, 4. That's intervals. Ooh. What am I onto here? What does that sound like, you guys? There you go. We just figured out what Kurt Cobain was thinking when he wrote Smells Like Teen Spirit. He was thinking like Pat Metheny. He was like, I'm going to go to the 1 to the 4. Then I'm going to modulate to the parallel relative major and go 1 to the 4. Seriously. So here's a jazzy version of Smells Like Teen Spirit. And now you know how to improvise over Ionian, Aeolian. Pretty cool. That Smells Like Teen Spirit right here. One, but with major 7 chords. But now we're in the key of G. So let's get back to this. Any Nirvana fans? No Nirvana fans. Thumbs up for Nirvana. All right. Anyways, really cool chord progressions. Bands like Radiohead, they do this stuff all the time as well. So check it out. I want you to hear this again. 1 to the 4. We're fancying up what we started with, and then modulate 1 to the 4. Now, come on, if you saw this on paper, would you feel pretty confident that you knew how to improvise over this? It's kind of like a Joe Beam tune. But now you will be. So I'm teaching you how to simplify your thinking. But see, I'm showing you start simple and then complex it, make it more complex. Okay, start simple, but now I'm going to make it even more complex. You ready for this? And then we'll end today's session. And give me a thumbs up if you're enjoying this. Okay, so check it out. I'm not going to do the 4. We could. I like that. But I'm going to show you something else. This is what jazzers do. Here's what jazzers do. They go 2-5-1. Jazzers are obsessed with 2-5-1. So it's not good enough just to be G major, B flat major, B flat major. It's not good enough just to do that. We need more movement. We got C minor 7. Oh, what key are we in? I got to keep track of my keys. A minor 7, D7, G major 7. We could even keep the 4 there if you want. That's like autumn leaves, okay? 2-5-1-4. But I'll just leave it at G major 7 for now. No. Let's make it busy. I changed my mind. G major 7. Space-wise, I'm going to use the little triangle delta. C major 7. And yes, you're going to say, hey, that looks just like the autumn leaves progression. Absolutely. See, this all ties in, guys. 2-5-1-4. Now we're going to do it in the key of B flat. This major turns to minor. C minor 7, F7, B flat major 7, E flat major 7. Look at this. This is complex. From what we started with 10 minutes ago, we just had G for 2 bars, B flat for 2 bars, major 7. Now we got 2-5-1-4. And again, it's very important that you know where you're going here. 2-5-1-4. That's autumn leaves. Now I'm going to do it in a new key. 2-5-1-4. That's, I'm mapping out the bass line. Now I can put chords to it. Oh, I'm going to give it, because I'm going at a fast tempo, I'm going to give it 1 bar each. I'm just elongating it. So essentially now I have an 8-bar song from the 4-bar song. I'll do this. There, now it's on loop, and that's E flat major 7. So now again, check out this. Let's play through it. It's going to sound cool. And now Aeolian. So now we already know, we just talked about how to solo on this. Easy. So I'm teaching you the method of starting simple in this case. And we're going to do the opposite as we dissect jazz standards. And what I do in my classes and workshops, we simplify, we reduce things down, key centers, modes, etc. This progression is not as scary anymore. If you just saw it on paper, you might be a little bit intimidated and know that you have to switch keys and analyze it. But now I'm showing you, hey, we started with 1 in the key of G, B flat major, but then we could fancy that. We could create other sub progressions in there, and then modulate. That's really fun. So again, there's a lot of really fun things that we could do for arranging, composing, to make things interesting when you just see 1 chord for 2 bars or longer. We can create movement. So again, we start with something like this. And then we did this. You can still solo work. And then we did this. And the soloist can still be thinking the same thing for all 3 of those progressions. pentatonics, modes, etc. This would also make a good outlining exercise for your arpeggio practicing. Any questions? What do you guys think? Can I see one more thumbs up on a Monday morning? Let me know that you're liking this. I'm going to just try to keep doing this as much as I can. All right, well, we just hit the 1 hour mark. And tomorrow, if I do one, good to see you, Jack. Tomorrow we're going to take a standard and work on some modes, because this is now basically getting us into jazz standards, which to me, I find those standards such as How High the Moon, How Insensitive, or that switch keys. You have to navigate through those modes. Maybe use a harmonic minor scale too. That's one reason why I really love jazz songs and progressions, because it's challenging and it's beautiful that it's shifting these modes and colors so subtle sometimes. I love minor key songs especially. We might talk about tomorrow or the next day Hotel California. Similar, has that minor key, these type of songs. I'm choosing songs that are going to challenge you a little bit more than just this. Except I might come back to that for this tomorrow, or again when we revisit together here. Thanks, Jeffrey and Jeff from the UK. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.